Hello everyone, today we are going to review the expenses for Ring Farm, and the purpose of this worksheet is to record, organize and analyze the expenses for Ring Farm. So first we are going to start with the documentation sheet that we created. I added a title, the author, in this case my name, the date, and a summary of the purpose. We also had the expenditures sheet that has all the expenses data. So as you can see, it has the payee, the date paid, check number, category, amount, and if the check is outstanding or not, or the amount is outstanding or not. So what I did here is I created a table. Instead of a data range, I inserted a table and I renamed the table checkbook, as you can see here in the table name. And I also rename or relabel the category farm for payroll. So as you can see, farm is not here anymore. Instead we have payroll. After that, I created multiple copies of the expenditures sheet. The first copy I created was renamed Q5, and in order to create a copy, you just do right click on the tab and select move or copy, and then you can just create a copy and a new sheet will be created and you can rename it as needed. Okay, so going back to Q5, basically what I did here is that we applied the sorting function or the sorting tool, and we use it to sort in multiple levels. So in this case we sort by, you can go to the data tab in the main ribbon, and as you can see here, if I open the sorting tool, you have here category, payee, and date paid. That's how we sorted, and the date paid was sorted newest to oldest. Okay, then we had another copy of the expenditures and we renamed it Q6. And in this case we used the filter tool, and basically we filter all the expenses, or we wanted to see all the expenses for the repairs and equipment category, and we sorted everything by the amount, from the smallest amount to the biggest amount. So how I did that is just I created a filter. So in this case I just selected equipment and repairs, and then I added a sorting. So as you can see here, we sort by amount and smallest to largest. So in this case, if the Ring Farm wants to see how much they spend just on in this category, it will be just very easy for them. Now they know that in December of 2013 they spent $2,724 in just these two categories. Now if we move to Q7, which is also a copy of expenditures sheet, we also use the filter in a more advanced way. So in this case we filter by a specific word. So the way we did this is by going to data, selecting advanced filter. Sorry, so let me just clear this so it's probably easier. So I'm going to filter by text filters, and then I'm going to select only the words that contain the word, or the pages that contain the word vet. So I'm going to type vet and say OK, and then here you see that all the pages that have the word vet were listed here. And we also included a total in the bottom of the table, and a way to do this is by just clicking on the total row in the table style options. Then we created Q8, which is also a copy of the expenses sheet. And in this one we just simply use conditional formatting. So we went to the Home tab and just selected. In this case I'm just going to show you what I did. So I selected a rule that says that when the value for outstanding equals yes, which means outstanding, then the cell is highlighted yellow with a darker yellow font. So as you can see here, all the outstanding amounts are highlighted. And then we move to sheet Q9, also a copy of the initial expenses sheet. And for this one we use the subtotal command to display subtotals by category. So in order to do that, as you can see, for example, if you look at the table, it doesn't look like we have any filtering or anything. So what happened was that we removed the Excel table and we changed this to day range in order to add the subtotals. So here we have the subtotal option and we inserted it. As you can see here, it's based on the outstanding and the payee. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I selected it wrong. So basically I'm just gonna add it again here, and we are gonna base it on category and then the amount. And here we go, we have the I have to change the function to sum. So now here we have the subtotal by category. Okay, so now we move to sheet number Q1011, and for this one we just added a pivot table that pretty much summarizes all the expenses grouped by month. So here, as you can see, let me just show you the field list. So we selected I renamed date by month because I grouped everything. I will show you in a minute. But here we have, in the row labels, we have category, and they relabel date by and month, and in the values we have the amount. I also added a filter in case they need it, if they want to see a summary by outstanding or not outstanding. Okay, and I also grouped the data. It was initially by date, so you will see a longer list of dates. In this case I just grouped everything by month, just to have an easier way to look at the data. And lastly, I added a pivot table chart, and the way I did that was just by clicking in any place in the pivot table and then going to the options and creating a pivot chart, and I selected the first option in the column section. So that's how I created a pivot table. I removed the legend. So here in the layout options I removed the legend. I said none. And just by quickly looking at the pivot table, we can see that, for example, in the equipment section, probably the most expensive month was November. And yeah, so in this way you can quickly look at what was your best or worst month in terms of expenses. And then we created, in the last sheet of the workbook, we created a summary pivot table showing only the total amount or the total expenses by category, and also showing the percentage that they represent of the whole total. The way I did this was by entering, well, let me just show you first the field list, which is here already, I'm sorry. So we have the category in the row labels, and then we have the total amount, and then I added a calculated field. So I went to options and calculations, since I already entered one, I don't think it's really showing me, but basically I added a calculated field that equal the total amount, and then I express that total in percentages just by selecting show value as percentage of grand total. That's how I did it. I think this workbook is a great way to just look at your expenses from different angles. Yeah, a way to analyze. Maybe there are ways to reduce expenses in different areas or categories. And also, I mean, all the tools that I learned I found helpful. Particularly the pivot tables are, to me, very helpful at work. I highly recommend using them. They are very easy to work with, I think, as far as you have an organized data range. And the pivot charts also, because you don't have to spend so much time creating the chart. It's just based on the pivot table, and again, it's an easy way to actually see the data. That could help your manager or the company to make decisions a little faster. Thank you for your attention, and see you next time.